Hi, it's Sherri from A Quilting Life, and I'm here today to share the September Quilting Life block of the month. I'm super excited about this month's block. It's super cute. I've got mine finished in the 12-inch and the 6-inch size, and I have some tips and tricks to show you today. So let's get started. Okay, so I know you're going to love this month's block. It is a darling cross block, I guess, X block. Here it is in the Christmas fabrics. And these, by the way, these pieces are really tiny, but it was actually surprisingly pretty easy to put together. And then here I have the 12-inch block. So you're going to be making, it seems like a lot. You're going to be cutting 4 different squares from each of the 4 prints in the block for the large section, and then 48 background squares, whether you're doing the large or the small. And so I'm going to, I know you've heard this over and over again, but this mini simple folded corners ruler really makes this block a breeze to put together. I'm going to show you just a couple of tips and tricks that I thought of while I was sewing. First of all, I didn't use any directional prints in my Christmas version, so I didn't have to worry about it. But in this block, I did use one directional print. And so with the other blocks, there really isn't a lot to think about, but you will, I just do want to point out, if you want your arrows, if you're using this fabric, to all go the same way, it really helps if you lay it out with them all going the same way as you begin to start sewing these squares, so that you can really know which sides you're going to put squares on and which sides you aren't, because each square will have background on only 3 sides. And so, as I mentioned, it doesn't make a difference when the fabrics are not directional, but when they are directional, it will make a difference so that that block can be positioned in the correct place. Just a really quick refresher, you're going to just line up the smaller square with the edges of the larger square. And to use the ruler, you just have that diagonal line going from corner to corner, and you trim, and then you take it over to the sewing machine and sew. What you're going to want to do is put 2 fabrics on opposite corners first before you add, and use the same technique to add that 3rd corner. It's because they will overlap, so these will need to be sewn first. And then you're going to add that final piece at the end. So you'll make 4 of these for each unit of the block. But what I also wanted to tell you that will help you, and I didn't follow through on this myself, I realized it as I was pressing and putting things together, but if you press all of the pieces in 2 of your sections that will be placed diagonally from each other out, and do all of your pressing in on the other 2 sections, everything will nest. I didn't do that, and so I can show you the back on this one. And there were some places where the seams just had to go right up against each other. It wasn't too bad, but it would have been better for me to do that, and just so that the entire block could nest. I did press open the seams in between units and in between sections. Basically all of the seams, other than adding these outer pieces with the mini simple folded corners ruler, everything else I pressed open. And I feel like my mini block is actually even a bit more flat than my large block. I I still didn't do everything the way I told you, but I did make sure on this one that when the colors met, that those seams were nesting, and it really made a big difference. So again, you'll want to press on the two across from each other diagonally, press those in the same direction, either in or out, and the other two the opposite way. And if you do that and you line everything up, pressed out, pressed in, pressed out, pressed in, on each row, the entire block will nest. And again, just lay out that. If you're using anything directional, just my biggest tip is for you to lay out all of those pieces before you add any of the corners. And I can tell you from experience that I had to redo one of these pieces because I hadn't laid it out. I thought I had it in my head, and I didn't. So those are the big tips for this month's block. I cannot believe this is block 9 and we are 3/4 of the way done. I'm actually gonna hope to get my quilt finished up really soon so that I can have it quilted and everything to show you just within a few months when we're finishing up. So again, the patterns PDF pattern download is free, and it will be available on the blog and will be linked below. Okay, so that's it for today's September block of the month video tutorial. I will have a link to the blog post in the description where you can go to download the free PDF pattern. And remember, the block is in both sizes on the PDF, the 12-inch finished and the 6-inch finished. And you can also get all of the previous blocks from 2021 if you're just joining in at this time. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, share it with a friend, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks so much for stopping by.